Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video. So please like and share the video with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already. And enough said. Let's get started. So I've already filled out our safe states for each party, for Trump and Biden, actually. And so yeah, basically, Alaska is not safe for the Republicans, but Montana, Kansas, and Arkansas are. So is Utah. Missouri and Indiana aren't safe. Uh, Mississippi's not safe now for the Democrats. I'm big. I'm big on Colorado voting to the left of New Mexico. So New Mexico is not going to be safe, but Colorado probably will be. And the Northeast, except for New Hampshire, Maine second district, going to be safe for the Democratic Party. And yeah, so starting out with our likely blue states, that's New Mexico. Now, do remember that New Mexico is actually pretty solid for the Democrats. It'll be probably the most solid of their likely states as of right now. Net Biden plus 13 overall in these polls that have been taken. And also, do remember that that a JHK forecast gives Biden a 99.5% chance of winning this race. Trump is also very unpopular, and in New Mexico, he enjoys a negative net 14% approval. Hillary Clinton, she ended up winning the state by 8.3%, and I expect Biden to do a little bit better than her. Democrats actually did flip a House seat here back in 2018. It was the second district, the southern one, and yeah. So let's look. So currently, Joe Biden has a net plus 13 lead in the polls over Trump. Let's look. Let's compare that to what Trump and Clinton had on July 25th. Okay, they're not going to show us a little graph. Okay, that's annoying. All right, so we can't analyze the polling there, but anyways, bottom line is that New Mexico will be likely for the Democratic Party. Minnesota is also going to be likely. It could even be safe because do remember that I'm sorry, my brother is a very energetic person. Let's just say that. So if you can hear that, I do apologize. So so this is the precinct map. I don't know why that's not filled in, but anyways, Amy Klobuchar, she won this race by 24 points over Jim Newberger, so that's a safe margin. And now let's edit the HTML to make it special because there was a special election. Why does it? Okay. That Tina Smith won over Karen Housley, and she ended up winning by a little less than 11 points, so basically 10.5 points. And yeah, that's it's really interesting that that she won it by that much because Tina Smith is kind of an establishment type candidate. Now Karen Housley is much better in that regard, but I really don't think that we're going to see Biden kind of replicate that because Trump is a stronger hand than Housley. And yeah, so I'm saying yeah a lot, but the polling does kind of reflect what I think is going to be the result. Biden plus 11. I can see that happening, but I do think that it'll be closer than that. And factor in the margin of error, plus the fact that Trump did outperform the polls in Minnesota back in 2016. So let's see the so the polls that Clinton had by a decent amount. So yeah, I'm not going to make that mistake again. So Michigan is not going to be lean; it'll be likely. I know some people. The common consensus is that Michigan is lean or likely for the Democratic Party, unless you're watching Red Eagle Politics. Then I guess I'm not going to spend my time listening to that argument because it is a pretty silly argument to make. Every single metric you can find. If you want to talk about Michigan's polling, it is not good for President Trump right now. He currently has a 7.4% lead. JHK Forecasts gives Biden a 91.7% chance of winning Michigan. Civics, Donald Trump has a negative 14% net approval in Michigan. That's the same as New Mexico. That's the same as very similar to Virginia. So same as New Mexico, same as Virginia basically. So we're definitely not going to see Donald Trump, getting over 50% of the vote here. That's for sure. So, and he only got like 48% of the vote here back in 2016. Because there's a lot of third-party voting, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to happen this year. And I don't want to listen to you telling me that Michigan is going to go red because I feel like it. That's not true. And yes, in 2016, they did very, very narrowly go red by, a couple thousand votes, but like 9,000 votes. But we're not going to, I seriously doubt that we're going to see Michigan going red this year. It'll be very weird if it goes red, and it will represent a trend. I believe there were 2 flips in the House in Michigan. Plus, let's look at the 2018 Michigan governor. Okay, I just looked up now. Oh my gosh, governor race. Gretchen Whitmer, she beat the incumbent Snyder, or Rick Snyder's party. He was a Republican, and he won that. He was pretty popular. Whereas Gretchen Whitmer, she defeated Bill Chouette. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, by a solid 10-point margin. And yeah, that's very, very good sign for them. And let's look at Michigan. See if we can edit the HTML to make it go to Senate election. We did it. Look, 2018 Michigan. Oh, that's the state Senate election. Okay, Senate election 2018 Michigan. Where remember? Okay, I don't want to open that in a new tab. Remember 2018 Michigan Senate race. John James, he ran. He got a lot of hype, and he still couldn't beat Debbie Stabenow, who was a pretty, she was a pretty establishment type senator. So yeah, I did kind of go on a rant about Michigan, so I'm going to stop right there, and we're just going to go to Virginia. All the polling puts Biden ahead of Trump in Virginia. Let's see, Biden plus 10.4. JHK Forecast. Look at that, 97% chance for Biden. Virginia, Trump negative 18% net approval. And even they were in a very weak Hillary Clinton in 2016. She still won Virginia by a likely margin. They also flipped a House seat there. Abigail Spanberger, I believe, if we can find that. Abigail Spanberger. Yeah, she ended up flipping that seat by 2%. And they didn't have a Senate race, but they did have 2018 Virginia governor race. It was 2017, my bad. Ralph Northam defeated Ed Gillespie, who I believe was the incumbent. It was Terry McAuliffe. I should have known that. So, yeah. All the good signs for Democrats in Virginia. And if you remember, there was a lot of polling on Virginia back in 2016. There we go. Perfect. So right now, on July 25th, Joe Biden currently has a 10.4%, July 24th, a 10.4% lead over Donald Trump. Compare that to July 24th of 2016. Let's go. Clinton had a 5.3% chance or percent lead. So it's pretty solid for the Democrats at this point, and I don't expect it to flip. Now moving on to the likely Republican states. Alaska's going to be likely. It's a tough state to analyze because they're not huge fans of Trump. But again, it went pretty solidly for Trump, even though there was a lot of third-party voting. And Democrats did not do as well as, at least Galvin is probably going to win it this year, but they couldn't flip it in 2018. Plus, the Republicans did flip a seat, Alaska Senate race, or no, not Senate, governor race. So Bill Walker, who was technically, he was an incumbent, but, Bill Walker, he was the incumbent, who was an independent, but remember that Bill Walker was more of a Democrat than a Republican. Mike Dunleavy defeated Mark Begich in the governor's race pretty handily. So I expect it to go red. There's not a ton of polling data. There is one poll that, is kind of weird that I don't really trust because it's not a great rated poll. BC, Trump ahead by 1, Trump ahead by 3. So we're not going to really talk about that poll too much. Now, Missouri, we're not going to go there yet. First, we're going to talk about Texas. Now, there are a lot of people who I talk to who think Texas is going to be leaner or tilt, but remember, 2018 Texas Senate race. Ted Cruz was one of the most unpopular senators in the United States. And, Beto O'Rourke, he defeated. Okay, we don't need that race. Beto O'Rourke, remember that he defeated. Beto O'Rourke, he visited every single county. Look at all these counties. He visited every single one. Okay, he visited every single one of them. That is absolutely incredible. I think that's incredible. Biden does not have the time to do that. Plus, Donald Trump is more popular in Texas than Ted Cruz is now. Trump is pretty unpopular, net -1, but we're not going to see Texas flipping anytime soon. Same with Missouri. I think there was some wacky poll that came out that had Biden only winning. Oh, okay. So Trump was 3.9 in Missouri as of July 21st. Okay, you're going to show me. Oh, Trump was 5.4. On July 24th. Now let's compare that to 2016, where I believe they actually overestimated Hillary Clinton in Missouri. Yeah, so July 24th. July 24th. Trump had a 7.5% lead, so Biden will outperform Clinton here, but it still won't be enough to flip. Same with Indiana. I originally characterized this as a safe red state because of Mike Pence, but Mike Pence was never crazy popular there. And, Trump is kind of falling. He has lost a lot of the appeal he had to these voters back in 2016. And, however, Indiana is trending red overall. So, with Mississippi, it'll just barely be likely. Could be safe, but it'll just barely be likely. Polls, plus 10 for Trump, pretty consistently. JHK Forecasts only gives Biden a 2% chance of winning there. In fact, I believe they gave him a 5% chance a decent time ago. Okay, whatever, I was wrong. So, Mississippi, Trump is pretty popular there, decently popular. Democrats came close to winning that Senate race there. Actually, 2018 Mississippi, the Senate race. My guess, he only lost by 5, I think, against Cindy Hyde-Smith. Okay, he actually lost by 8%, so I was wrong. But, he came pretty close for a Democrat in Mississippi compared to what happened in 2014. It'll still be likely. The same with South Carolina. South Carolina's going to be closer than Mississippi, but still going to stay with the GOP at the presidential level. Okay, so we're now going to go to the lead states, and this is kind of an unpopular opinion. Most people at this point rate Nevada as likely, and I understand that because remember that in 2016, let's see Nevada. Right now, Joe Biden he has a 6.5% chance, or 6.7% lead for Donald Trump in the polling. Back in 2016, let's look at those polls. In 2016, they put Trump ahead pretty consistently. That's very good news for the Biden campaign. I mean, let's go to July. Okay. July 24th. So Trump was ahead by 2 points, and now Biden is ahead by what is it? 4 points? I just forgot. By 6.7%. So we could see this being likely, but I just think that we're going to see it being lean because again, 2018 very unpopular incumbent Dean Heller, 2018 Nevada Senate race. Dean Heller was a very unpopular incumbent. He ended up losing his seat to Jackie Rose. Remember Heller? He won a weird election back in 2012 over Shelley Berkeley because there was all third party voting, all that stuff. And Jackie Rose, she was a former congresswoman. She beat out Dean Heller and is gonna win. She'll win She'll win re-election probably. We're talking about 2020 though, and I expect it to be closer than the polls suggest. Arizona's going to be lean as well. Now there has been kind of a downward trend for Joe Biden in Arizona. I think it's just but they're just surveying kind of the wrong people now. Trump actually had the polling lead back in February over Biden, but as of right now, at this point Biden was ahead by 4.7 back in the beginning of July. He is actually increasing his lead a tad bit, by half a percentage point, but it'll still be very, very narrow. But the polls have Biden ahead by 3, and let's compare this to 2016, where they let's see Arizona. Yeah, so back in July 24th, 2016, Clinton was 0.5% ahead. So and she ended up losing that by 3. So that's actually very interesting, but I still expected to lean because remember, let's go back to our midterm election results. Ann Kirkpatrick, she flipped this seat, a Senate race or a House race in Arizona by a pretty decent amount. Plus the fact that it was in a Senate race. Martha McSally was ahead in the polling over Kirsten Sinema, and those same polls that overestimated McSally are now putting Biden and Kelly ahead. I mean, just look at the polling here. Biden has consistently been ahead, +4, +5, and Mark Kelly's ahead by even more. So it'll probably be lean, could even be likely. But as of right now, I am going to put it as lean. JHK Forecasts is giving Biden a big chance of winning Arizona. And we're now going to move on to another lean state for the Democratic Party, which is the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania currently, look at polling data. Biden plus 6.8. And back in 2016, I know that this was a very swingy state, and it ended up basically deciding the election, sealing the deal for Trump. Clinton back in January or in February or oh my gosh, what am I saying? July 24th, Clinton was ahead by 3.2% consistently. Now Joe Biden is ahead by 6.8%. That means that he's basically doubling her margin and then adding 0.5% on. And Hillary only lost by I think 0.4% or maybe a little more than that. So if we look at the polling data, it would actually be likely for the Democrats. But again, they did underestimate Trump there back in 2016, so I'll just put it as a lean to be safe. Plus the fact that, there was a blowout scenario there, Pennsylvania Senate race, Rex. So, bottom line, KC kicked butt there, beating Lou Barletta. Although he is a popular incumbent, so that was kind of expected. In 2018 Pennsylvania governor race, let's see. It was a big one for Tom Wolf, who, he was the incumbent, I think. But still, a big win for him. So overall, Pennsylvania trying to the left. Well, it did turn to the left in the midterms, but it could go right by 2024. Now, New Hampshire, probably going to be lean. I've kind of flip-flopped between lean and tilt, because it was, remember, in 2016, it was very, very close between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Trump ended up winning, or Clinton ended up winning this by, 0.4%, which is only like 8,000 votes in New Hampshire. So, yeah. And let's see, what else can we talk about? There's a Republican governor who could help Trump, but again, he's more of a, liberal Republican. And do you remember the polling back in 2016, New Hampshire? Don't want Senate, we just want president. They actually put Trump ahead in some points. So let's see, July 24th, 2016. Clinton ahead by 3.7. Now let's see what it looks like in so now Biden had by 7.4, so he's going to definitely outperform Clinton here, and he'll probably win. So I'm going to try to wrap this up as quick as I can. Now going on to the lean Trump states, Georgia, definitely one of them. If it weren't for voter suppression, it'd probably be toss-up or maybe tilt for the Republicans, maybe tilt for the Democrats. But they suppressed the vote there in 2018 for sure. And the polling has been kind of flip-floppy between Biden and Trump. This could be the closest state. Probably won't be, though. Trump had by 1.3. Now let's compare that to what happened in 2016, where we had Trump ahead by even more back in July 24th. Trump was ahead by 4.6. So basically 1 point, in Hillary Clinton ended up losing this by a little more than 4%. So it'll probably be lean. And I do think Trump's going to win. I do remember that Democrats basically hit their peak with the voter suppression. Until there's no voter suppression, Democrats are going to have a tough time winning in Georgia. Stacey Abrams came very, very close to beating out Brian Kemp, and she could not do it with the voter suppression. Now, had there not been voter suppression, she probably would be the governor of Georgia right now, but that changes stuff, and they're going to suppress the vote in 2020 for this election. What other lean states? Okay, so that's it. So now till Democrat states. Starting off with the state of Wisconsin, I'm going to try to go just through this. Joe Biden is ahead in the polling by 7 points. That's pretty good. And do remember that back in February and back in March, Trump was ahead by a teeny tiny bit. JHK Forecast gives Trump an 81% chance of winning there. Trump, not very popular in Wisconsin, negative 9% net approval. It went barely for him in 2016. I'm not going to talk about that. There was a big Senate race there. Senate race, Wisconsin. Amy Baldwin won this by 11 points. And let's go over to the state of, or to the Wisconsin governor race back in 2018. Scott Walker, they beat him out. He was pretty unpopular, but he was an incumbent, and he was still a well-known person. He lost to Tony Evers. Now compare that to what was going on in 2016 in Wisconsin, where the polls right now they have Biden ahead by 7.1%. At this point in time, back in Wisconsin, let's go to July 24th. Clinton was ahead by 5.6%. So basically a 1.5% difference. Hillary Clinton, she lost the day by less than 1%. By that definition, Wisconsin is a tilt Democratic state. That's what I'm rating it as. North Carolina will be tilt for the Democratic Party. And bottom line, the polling is pretty favorable for Joe Biden there. It's kind of flip-floppy, but right now he's definitely the favorite there. JHK Forecast gives me 70% chance of winning there. Trump, very unpopular there, negative 9% net. Democrats, I think, there were no elections there, but right now Biden is ahead by, what is it in the polling? Plus 2%. Okay, so we're going to compare that to Trump versus Clinton. At this point in time, Clinton was ahead by 2, and Biden is currently ahead by 2.2. So, they're pretty similar leads, so there is a reason not to trust it. But I'm going to go, because again, 2016 there was voter suppression because there's a Republican governor and a Republican Secretary of State. Now there's a Democrat governor and a Democrat Secretary of State. That's going to help the Democrats big time. And the last tilt Democratic state is Florida. I'm going to go through this quickly. The polling is absurd for Trump in Florida. It's just crazy because right now Biden is ahead by 7%, 7.5%. This poll that came out had him ahead by 13. That's absolutely crazy. Now I know that Trump is not very popular in Florida, negative 10 net, and but I mean, Hillary Clinton's lead was not that big in Florida. And on election day, they actually had Trump ahead on election day. And the RSP average had him ahead by 0.4. Back in July, let's go to July. Okay, they're not even going to show us this case. So basically, bottom line, Florida, all the data suggests it'll be tilt for the Democrats, which it will. Now, lastly, we're going to add the tilt Republican states, these two congressional districts. I'll go through pretty quickly. They're both, NEO, Nebraska's 2nd district, very working class, but Democrats are definitely going to make gains there, but it probably won't flip. Maine 2nd district, I don't see it flipping to the Democrats. It's trending very red. In fact, the polls that Clinton had by 1 point there, Trump ended up winning it by 10, and that's way beyond the margin for 11-point swing. So I just doubt that Biden's going to win it. It'll be closer though. Now Iowa is going to be tilt for the Republicans. So at the beginning of this channel, back in April or March, I remember when I started, I had this as a likely red state. Trump is barely ahead here, and remember that he ended up winning this by I think 9. Hillary Clinton, the polls had her in July 24th. They had her ahead by 4. So yeah, they're probably underestimating Trump again. So yeah, I'll give it to him. Same with Ohio. Okay, not Michigan. Same with Ohio, which we're going to give to President Trump, just because I know it's a bellwether and they're probably going to break their streak of voting for the winner. But yeah, I mean, Biden is ahead in the polling. I find that to be weird. So it is within the margin of error. But the Democrats could not flip a single seat here. Yeah, Sherrod Brown won the Senate race, but they couldn't flip a seat there. And I don't think that we're going to see this because, remember, not very diverse compared to states like Michigan or Illinois in the Midwest. And back in July, Hillary Clinton, she was ahead here, and by 2.7, Biden is ahead by 2. I think they're underestimating Trump here again, so that's it. So I did kind of speed through this in the final 5 minutes. That's because I have to go. So thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one.